If you eat eggs and you feed eggs to your dog and you throw away your eggshells, you might want to reconsider that, because you could be throwing away the most nutrient-dense, bioavailable part of the egg, and you may not even realize it. So in this video, I'm going to help you become a zero-waste carnivore and give you some ideas on how you can repurpose your eggshells and why you might want to start adding those to your diet and to your dog's diet, because they can have profound benefits on not only your health, but also on the health of your dog. So if you're new to Apex, my name is Jacob, and this channel is all about humans and dogs and the foods that bonded us, which is meat. So if that kind of stuff resonates with you, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a future video. And let's dive into this topic about eggshells. So first off, let's just talk about what an eggshell is. So obviously you have the eggshell itself, and the eggshell is basically comprised of the shell and the bloom, which is an outer protective coating. And that eggshell is made up of 95% calcium carbonate, which is one of the most bioavailable forms of calcium that we can consume. So also within that eggshell, you have strontium, and 99% of all strontium in the human body is found in the bones. Sodium renylate is actually sold as a prescription medication that's used for osteoporosis and bone fractures. It's associated with a decreased risk of bone and prostate cancer, stronger bones, a decreased risk of bone fractures, a decreased risk of osteoporosis. It helps with sensitive teeth, and it can reduce tooth decay and result in a decreased risk of cavities. And the other mineral that's found within eggshells is fluorine, not to be confused with fluoride, two totally different things. So fluorine is known to stimulate new bone formation. So that's the shell and the bloom. Now when you get inside the egg, you have the inner and outer membranes. The inner and outer membranes are essentially comprised of proteins. So you've got chondroitin, collagen, glucosamine, and keratin. And keratin is actually the same protein that makes up the horn of a rhinoceros, as well as fur and hair. So it is a fundamental building block. So now that we've talked about what an eggshell is and some of the things it contains, let's talk about how you can use an eggshell, how you can repurpose it instead of just throwing it away. Eggshells are great for growing plants. So if you've got flower beds, if you've got an herb garden, if you compost, if you grow vegetables, any of that kind of stuff, eggshells are fantastic for remineralizing the soil and helping plants grow. If you have chickens, and if you raise chickens, you can add eggshells to the chicken's feed, and that provides chickens with an excellent and bioavailable source of calcium that will help strengthen their bones, and also helps hens lay healthy eggs. If you don't have chickens and you just like to watch birds, you can add it to bird feed. You can grind it up and use it for exfoliation of your skin. You can use it as a face mask. Eggshells also work great for an abrasive agent for like cleaning, and you can even grind it up and make it into powder and use it for sandblasting. So no matter what you do, no matter what kind of background you come from, there's probably a way that you can use eggshells. Now the most important use, and the one I want to highlight in this video, is consuming eggshells and adding them to your diet and to your dog's diet. So a single eggshell contains 2 times the RDA of calcium for the average adult. And again, the calcium found in eggshells, calcium carbonate, is one of the most bioavailable sources of calcium that you can consume. And eggshells themselves are one of the most bioavailable calcium-rich foods on the planet. So the great thing about consuming eggshells as a source of calcium is that it's much better and much safer than supplements. Because it's a very bioavailable source of calcium, your body is going to be able to absorb and utilize all of that calcium you're consuming. And then on top of that, it's much safer because your body processes eggshells at a much slower rate than it would if you were taking a calcium supplement. So it can really reduce your risk of running into issues with hypercalcemia, which is essentially too much calcium in the blood, which can lead to severe health problems. So eating eggshells can allow you to completely avoid that. So now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's talk about the benefits and how adding eggshells to your diet can really benefit the health of you and your dog. So all the nutrients that we just talked about that is found in eggshells and the membrane inside of eggshells promotes and contributes to the health of a lot of things. Specifically hair, skin, nails, connective tissue, joints, cartilage, organ tissue, gut health, decreased gut permeability, bones, and teeth. Those are the big ones. But on top of that, the calcium found in eggshells and the collagen found in the membranes of eggshells has also been associated with a reduction of gout. It's been known to help with lupus. It can help reduce joint and back pain. It can protect and strengthen tooth enamel, prevent tooth decay. It can strengthen bones and promote bone development, muscle function, improve cardiac function and heart rhythm regulation. It can help with the regulation of other minerals like magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium in the blood. It can aid in the detoxification of the body. It can reduce inflammation, help cure gastric ulcers and gastritis. It's been known to reduce the risk of osteoporosis. It can help protect against dementia. And one that I think is very important is that it can decrease parathyroid hormone, which is responsible for regulating blood calcium levels. Elevated parathyroid hormone is associated with several health problems such as hypothyroidism, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, chronically elevated histamine levels, histamine intolerance, and other inflammatory mediators. The calcium in eggshells also inhibits fat-forming enzyme fatty acid synthase and decreases thyroid suppressive free fatty acids in your blood and can promote a healthy metabolism and boost your metabolism. And in addition to that, the inhibition of fatty acid synthase has also been associated with a decreased risk of cancer because cancer cells have been shown to express high levels of the fatty acid synthase enzyme, which is associated with aggressive tumor behavior and tumor cell growth. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to show you how I process my eggshells so that I can add those to my food and my dog's food so we can experience all those amazing benefits. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is just wash off your eggs. So you just want to wash off the inside and get any remaining egg out of the inside of the eggshell. So you can see that one's pretty clean. Now you don't want to get the membrane out of there. It's important to keep the membrane inside, but you just want to rinse out any remaining egg that might be inside there. Alright, so what I normally do is I take all my eggshells once they're cleaned out and I'll just put them in Ziploc bags and I put these in the freezer until I've collected a bunch. I mean, you can see I've got a bunch here. I don't know how many eggs this is, but it's a lot. So I'll just take all these eggs, put them in the freezer, and then when I have enough, I'll move them over into a pan. Now you've got two different ways you can do this. You can either put these in a pot and you can boil them for like 5 minutes to kind of sterilize them, or you can lay them out in the sun and dry them that way. I like to lay mine in the sun. I'm kind of a natural guy, so that's what I'm going to do. And I basically just spread these out on these pans. I'll let the sun beat down on them for about an hour or two, wait until they're good and dry, and then I'll go into the kitchen and I'll bake them. So I'll go ahead and lay these out and then we'll move them into the kitchen. We'll bake them after they've dried in the sun. Now you just want to spread these out and make sure that they're not clumped together so that the sun can dry them off real well and kind of sterilize and sanitize them. My first set of eggshells are good and sun-baked. My oven's preheated to 250. I'm going to throw these in for 20 minutes. Alright, my eggshells are good and baked. You can tell they've turned a slight golden brown color, and they should be very brittle and ready to grind into a powder. So to grind these up and completely pulverize them, I'm going to use a 900 watt Ninja. It does a really good job of getting them ground up into very fine powder. So one thing I forgot to mention is that if you're making eggshell powder for yourself or for your dog, you probably don't want to use eggs from the grocery store. And the reason I say that is because a lot of eggs that are sold in the grocery store are actually sprayed with a coating. And the only reason it's sprayed with a coating is essentially to make them more appealing, like more aesthetically appealing so that you buy them. It makes them shiny. and that coating is probably not optimal for your health, so you probably don't want to be consuming that. So the best option is to buy eggs locally. That's what I do. I usually get my eggs from like my farmer's market, or I'll get them from a local farm in my area. But again, if you consume eggs that are from the grocery store, there's a pretty good chance they're going to be sprayed with some sort of coating that is probably not optimal for you to consume. So I would say if you are buying grocery store eggs, just do your due diligence and make sure you're looking into that and make sure that the eggs you're buying aren't sprayed with some sort of weird coating. And if you're looking for a local place to buy eggs in your area, I do have a farm map on my website, and you'll find a link to that in the description below. I put that in pretty much every one of my videos, and there's over 7,200 farms, butcher shops, meat processing facilities, and a bunch of other resources that will just help you be more nutritionally independent. So again, I'll provide a link for that in the description below. Be sure to check that out and try to source your meat and your food from your local community as often as possible, because that's going to provide you with the most nutrient dense, least toxic food possible. All right, and that is it. So I am left with a nice jar of eggshell powder, finely ground. That Ninja does a really good job at grinding this stuff up, making it like very, very small powder. And that's the key thing when you do this. You just want to make sure that you don't have big chunks in there. You don't have like sharp pieces and stuff, because obviously you're going to be adding this to your food. You're going to be adding it to your dog's food. So you don't want to have big chunks in there where it could like damage your throat or damage your mouth when you're eating it. So that's important. Just make sure it's ground up into a very fine powder. And to get a full dose and to get your full RDA of calcium, you just need 3 teaspoons every single day. Again, you'll have collagen, chondroitin, all these other very important, very beneficial nutrients that you're going to be adding to your meal. And this is very important for our dogs, especially when they get older, because there's a lot of dogs that if they've been eating kibble, or you know, if maybe you adopted them and they came from kind of a bad background, they might have damaged teeth, or they might have tooth decay, or they might have missing teeth, and it can be really hard for those dogs to consume raw meaty bones. So this is a great alternative to give them that extra dose of calcium without having to give them raw meaty bones. Now obviously you're going to want to adjust how much you give your dog compared to how much you eat for yourself, because your dog weighs a lot less. So just do the math on that and calculate how much your dog needs. I'll put some information in the description below that kind of gives you an idea on how much calcium is in eggshells and in eggshell powder, so you can kind of measure that out and adjust it as needed for your dog. So this is by no means a substitute for raw meaty bones for your dog. Raw meaty bones is always going to be the best thing you can give your dog from a nutrition standpoint. But again, if they have problems, if they have tooth problems, or if they have a hard time consuming raw meaty bones, aside from grinding bones and putting them in your dog's food, this can be a really good alternative to that. So hopefully you got some value out of this. Hopefully this will help you to reduce your waste footprint. You can use everything you buy. Nothing goes to waste. I feel like that's very important in today's age. Our money goes further when we do that kind of stuff. And again, this is way better, way safer, and way more beneficial than buying a calcium supplement if you're low on calcium or if your dog's low on calcium. This can be a really good option, and I would prefer to do this over buying a supplement any day of the week, and it's essentially free, which is an added benefit. So I really hope you like this. I hope you got some value out of this, and if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, join the Apex Tribe, and I'll see you in the next one.